What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep screwed rep.
Yeah.
Woo!
Who are you to doubt Elton? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable.
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King Savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. I said WWE stands for. It's me, Austin. I will never retire.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Hey, look, are you sick and tired of dropping 60, 70, $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video games? Stop immediately. app.wrestlerunstoppable.com, where everything is totally free. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline PLEs. Everything is totally included. You can even build your own corporation from the ground up, sign other talent. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you are a diehard wrestling fan, create your wrestler. And while you're in the game, look for Odin Maximus. That would be my avatar. I'd be happy to help you get started. But you got to check it out today. Totally free. app.wrestlerunstoppable.com. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts like my good buddy John down in Texas. John, love giving you that shout out. Then you got to pop over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. We got loyalty rewards this month only. If you are a $10 a month contributor, you get to co-host a show with me. $5 a month contributor, enter into a drawing to also host an episode with myself. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, comments, something you want me to touch on in the future episode, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if you let me know through the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line, 267-642-1160, and I will get to those questions or comments in a future episode. Listen, it's been a couple days. Look, I got a personal life, I admit that, so I haven't had a new episode up in a couple, but we're going to cover everything we can today. And before I get to that, thank you to all of the newest people tuning in and our longest tenured listeners. Last couple weeks have been huge pops in numbers for us. Thank you so much. Mad appreciate how much you guys have been supporting the show, and that it means so much. So thank you for that. After 12 years, it's nice to see that some people still enjoy what it is that we do. To the news itself, let's see. We'll segment this a little bit. Let's go with some shocking news. Mia Yim, also known as Michin now in WWE, announcing on social media in a exchange on X with some fans who were asking questions about her personal life. And apparently, Michin and Keith Lee are divorced and have been separated for a year now. I know a few years back when they got married, it was a big to-do that these two were, such an adorable couple and all this other fun stuff. But apparently, things went south now. Apparently, they're still friends. They're still very, very tight with each other. They care about each other greatly. But the marriage just didn't work out. And along the same vine, Keith Lee also in the news because there was a report that came out this week that Keith Lee has effectively retired from professional wrestling. There were some pitches earlier this year for him to come back to AEW television. We don't know at this point whether or not those pitches ever made it to him, but it sounds as though he's kind of moving past professional wrestling in general, not just AEW, but in general. And, we know he had an injury in 2022. We know his last match came December 2023. It's been 2.5 years plus since he's been in the ring. And at some point, there are people speculating all sorts of injury potential, what the big issue could be. And there was never any real clarity about what that was keeping him out of the ring. But now the reports are suggesting that he has just moved on from professional wrestling. Now, I don't have any idea what he's done financially in his indie career, in his WWE time, and now his AEW time. If he's still under contract, is he getting paid out the rest of his deal before he becomes a free agent kind of thing? I'm not sure, but I hope he's taking care of that cash. He's a young man, still got plenty of time left, and I really want to see him do some great things. I would love to see, if he really has hung up the boots, love to see him do like a wrestling school or something where he could share that just wealth of knowledge that he has to have. He has wrestled so many different styles over the year. He's somebody I really genuinely miss on television. Speaking of people not being on TV, that is not going to be the case shortly. We got 3 updates for you. One, Stephanie Vaquer, it sounds like she will be back by SummerSlam time frame. Now, do you bring her back for the show or do you wait till the Raw after? I don't know, but the Raw women's division is really hurting right now. Liv Morgan has done essentially nothing since winning the championship at Mania. Vaquer got hurt, and it's like creative could not come up with anything. With a roster that includes people like Chelsea Green, like Roxanne Perez, like Raquel Rodriguez, and they're the people who've been on TV the most, but nobody's been mixing it up with Liv. Not really. Sol Ruca for a little while, but like everything fizzles and goes away. And look, you're leaving those championships, and this is at the same time that Rhea Ripley is injured, has a knee injury. That was out this week. She's not come back for a little while. That we really need somebody to step up and take the lead in that women's division. It just hasn't happened, and creative has not made that happen. But Vaquer coming back going to be huge. Also, on the AEW side of things, Buddy Matthews has officially been cleared to compete. He has been out for a extended period of time after a serious ankle injury. He is due back anytime. He's just waiting, I think, on creative to figure out what it is he's going to be doing. But it'll be great to see him back. He is somebody who I've always felt like has never been appreciated for all that he is capable of and all that he does in the ring. He's a phenomenal talent. I cannot wait to see him back in the ring. Should be great stuff. And the big one coming out of Raw, which leads to additional speculation, the 8-3 promo, where it was basically a vignette of former video snippets and some silhouetting of Big Cass returning to WWE on August 3rd. That's what it seems to imply from the post. And you would assume that with all the conversation about Enzo, that this is going to be the reunion of Big Cass and Enzo. Maybe they're putting Cass out there to generate some excitement about him coming back, and then Enzo's a surprise. Or do they just bring them both back and keep them separated? I don't know. I would love to see them back together. That tag team division really needs some help, and this would be a great way to do that. Speaking of SummerSlam season and returns and excitement stuff for that, at SummerSlam, WWE planning some big things. There are some special legendary guests that are supposed to be in attendance. Now, I don't suspect that they're going to get all that physical. Maybe one of them, and I'll get to that in a minute. But definitely going to be there to pop the crowd. And they need that right now because ticket sales are lagging. The last I saw was 22,000 tickets for night 1. And that's almost half of what they sold last year for night 1. So they really got to move some tickets. It sounds like The Undertaker will be there. The Dudley Boys will be making an appearance. And I don't expect either one of them to get physical. However, Rikishi is supposed to be in the building. And that's somebody who, with everything that's going on Bloodline related, you would think they would have found a way to use Rikishi by now, and they haven't. So hopefully this will be a gateway into a whole new layer of this whole Bloodline saga, because I would love to see how they wrap Rikishi into the storytelling of all this. It's something Paul Heyman could be really good at helping orchestrate, who, by the way, is also in the news because he is now working with a partnership group to create a production company for podcasting and media distribution, which very exciting stuff. And I can't pronounce the name of the company, so don't ask. Look it up, you'll find it. But very exciting stuff. And now he's going to need something to do now that he seems to have turned his back on the vision. We'll get to that in a few minutes as well. In addition, at SummerSlam, other guests, there's going to be a conglomerate of people trying out. There's going to be WWE tryouts there. There's actually a package you could purchase to be a part of the tryout process. Watch these people try out, which is very interesting, very unique. And then from NXT, they have a whole host of talent coming up. Izzy Dame, Kendall Gray, Lola Vice, Mason Rook, all going to be in attendance. I don't expect that they're going to get involved in the show. I think this is one of those things like, you know what, it's going to sound so silly, but if you look back and watch the movie that they made about Paige's life, Fighting with My Family through The Rock's production company, they showed how people in the back would be at these shows watching and all that, and how that played out. I feel like that's kind of what we're looking at here. We're going to get Kendall, within the next year, Kendall Gray, Lola Vice, they both have to be on the main roster, which leads into a different conversation too. NXT is so robust with their talent roster and so many more coming and still doing tryouts, you really have to wonder, at what point does WWE have so much talent that they could justify a third brand? And do they create one or do they buy one? Is that why they may purchase TNA at some point, to spin off their NXT talent into there? Or do they just make NXT a main roster and make TNA a developmental thing? Or do they increase the presence of Evolve or whatever? I don't know. I did see AJ Styles in the news this week talking about how he wants WWE to purchase a Japanese promotion. He wants to have like a WWE Japan faction, a company, much like AAA. If that was going to happen, I think the time for that to have happened would have been when they were working with Pro Wrestling Noah so much, but that time may have passed, but we'll have to wait and see. But definitely some things to think about. On the AEW side of things, Jack Perry, last week, they showed him signing his contract extension. What I think was so interesting is a report came out this week that contract signing was actually the legit contract signing. He was not signed before that minute. Theoretically, on camera, he could have blown everybody off and be like, nah, psych, I'm going elsewhere. He didn't. It made for interest, now, especially having that knowledge now, makes that segment that much more interesting. It shows you how much confidence Tony Khan has in Jack Perry. I just hope that whatever he does, I really want to see the guy bulk up a little bit. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but the guy is tiny. I'm bigger than he is, and I'm not giant. So, but he wants to win that AEW World Championship. He is now signed, multi-year deal, but we don't know exactly how long. But it should be interesting to see how Tony Khan books him after having that moment for the contract signing. Let's get into our Raw review because we have to. The show opened with the Brock Lesnar Paul Heyman segment, which I thought was hilarious because they talk about how Obafemi is obsessed with Brock, and they were trashing his character because of his obsession with Brock. But then, well, only seconds later, talked about Brock being obsessed with Obafemi. Very strange stuff. They bring out all these, wink, wink, nudge, nudge police officers who you and I both know are a bunch of indie guys from whatever area they're in, and they're supposed to keep Oba away. Later in the show, we find out it was like, it was totally a bluff or whatever, but it made for a very boring part of it for me, to be perfectly honest with you. I loved Oba destroying the cops, don't get me wrong. But like every time Paul Heyman has something going on, it's like this legal thing. His daddy, who was a lawyer, called in a favor, a restraining order here. We did that restraining order angle only less than a year ago. Like, it's kind of ridiculous that we're still doing that same stuff. Like, creative needs to be just that, creative. And this is not creative. But I am excited for Hell in a Cell. I think it's going to be great. I think the build was solid. I think Oba, his promo ability is only getting better. He is a phenomenal, unique talent. I enjoyed the physicality of this segment. I really wish Brock would have gotten physical, but it is what it is. I think I don't know. I think creative needs to come up with a better way to introduce some of these things. We go into Io Sky, Roxanne Perez, a solid match, a lot of interference from Liv and Raquel. At the end of the match, after picking up the win, Io is in the ring. She's getting jumped by the Judgment Day. Out comes Sol Ruca. Yeah, you actually think there's going to be a fight. I actually, for a moment, thought maybe that's where we'd see Stephanie Vaquer show up and be like 3-on-3. But we did not. We get to see Sol get beat down, and Io eventually gets beat down, and, the heels stand strong. I don't know, man. I'm kind of over the Judgment Day. I'm ready for the Roxanne Liv feud. I really am. And if this thing here is going to be, just a placeholder, Io's not going to win it again. And then you're going to go into something with Ruca for a while just to get to Roxanne later. I would have much rather seen Roxanne now. I'll be honest with you. I really would. I'm over. The Judgment Day has been done to death, and I don't have any care for it anymore. So, is what it is. We get into the segment with Maxine Dupree, with the Vision, and the Alpha Academy. Really interesting stuff. I'll say this. I'm not bragging about her wrestling ability, but as a character and her character work, this was pretty solid for Maxine. It came across convincing. I mean, if you're a diehard wrestling fan, you already know what was going to happen. You could see it a mile away. But for the casual fan or the person who tunes in every now and again, she sold it well. They had that sympathy moment where, Austin Theory is making fun of Otis because he's like trying to profess his affection for her. She almost looked like she was going to kiss him before he gets hit with the low blow. And then she just full on goes heel. And it was great stuff. It really was. I don't know that I love that division is wasting her time with them unless, and I got to be clear, and I know it's not happening right now, but if we're going to get to a Chad Gable versus Braun Breaker, that might be worth it for me, because right now Braun Breaker is like, he is as cooled off as it gets, man. Like he was a guy who was supposed to be in the main event of WrestleMania, and instead, I think we said it on the previous episode, he's playing fourth fiddle in his own faction that just lost their wise man who walked out on him after the show. What do you need me for? I don't know. I'm hating everything about where Braun's at, but I love everything Maxine Dupree's doing because she's doing it very well. And I love Otis looks strong. He really looked good in this angle. And, I've always thought they missed the boat when he had the Money in the Bank. I really did, especially when he was palling around with Braun Strowman. I thought that could have been something. Who, by the way, if you didn't know, Braun Strowman made a return to wrestling last weekend, wearing some red, white, and blue pants and whatnot in a tag team match outdoors someplace. It was hilarious. You can find it online. Check that out. But yeah, I don't know. Solid segment, I suppose. Well, then we get to Royce Keys and Jimmy Uso. Okay match. I love that Jimmy's getting put over pretty strong right now. We don't have a good ending. We have a schmazza ending. We have Jacob Fatu hit the ring. We have Solo come out. All sorts of back and forth. Solo professing that he's back with the family, putting the ones to the sky, and if you watch his hand, you see him put the thumb out, and then he spikes Jimmy, and then he and Jacob are going at it. Eventually, when the beatdown starts happening, here comes LA Knight to set up the 6-man tag team match for SummerSlam, which, for LA Knight, man, first it's WrestleMania, now it's SummerSlam. Both of them are doing 6-man tags because creative can't come up with something better for you to do. And if you watch Chris Van Vliet and his interview with LA Knight, you could just sense how frustrated he must be right now with his creative. And I'm okay with it if it means he's going to get a world championship opportunity very soon, because I think he is getting hotter now, for the hottest he's been since before he wrestled Roman in Saudi, which I thought really cooled him off. Now he's starting to really heat it back up, and I hope they do something substantial with him. But this was a solid segment. The Keys Uso match, I'm glad it went to a schmaz ending, because I don't want to see Royce Keys lose anything, but I really love the Jimmy Uso stuff, and I don't want to see him lose either. So this is pretty solid. We got to see Lyra Valkyria debut this like new crazier looking. She almost looked like Nikki Cross kind of character. We heard about the match being set for Saturday night's main event against Bayley, which I guess that's the signal to you that the two of them are not going to be on the SummerSlam card. So we'll put them on Saturday night's main event instead. I don't know. I have very little interest in the match to begin with, but whatever. It is what it is. I mean, we'll get the feud out of the way. We'll be done with it. Move on, I suppose. With Mercedes Moné putting out another tweet on X that showed like an hourglass. Like, if Bayley's leaving, I'm sorry, if I'm WWE, I'm going to her right now and saying, okay, we need to figure this out. Because we're not going to have Mercedes Moné throwing all this crap out there all the time. It makes us look bad. It makes it look like you don't give a crap about it and you're phoning it in between now and whenever that is. So I would go to her right now and say, listen, 5-year contract extension, or we're just not going to book you. And take her off the show. And I love Bayley's work. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the world. But I don't like the whole back and forth with the AEW flirtation thing with Mercedes. I think it's bad on Mercedes Moné to be doing that. I understand why she's doing it. It's her bestie, and she wants to wrestle Dream and all that stuff. I understand all that. But were I a creative guy in WWE, I would not put one more minute of time into Bayley's character if she's leaving. If she signs a 5-year extension, not only would I put time into her character, it is time to build her back up to being a world champion contender, and that's something they haven't done in a couple years. I would love that, but again, you gotta wonder. And I feel like this is going to be one of those grass is always greener situations. Sure, she'll go to AEW, she'll work a few years there with her bestie, but I hope there's no bridges being burnt, because she's somebody who should be a WWE Hall of Famer, as should Mercedes at some point. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how all that plays out over time. We get to the main event of matches, let's say, where we have the multi-man match for the gauntlet match for the number one contender to the Intercontinental Championship, to face Penta at SummerSlam. It started with Dominic Mysterio and Joe Hendry. We get some shenanigans for Dom to eliminate Hendry. Javon Evans comes out, which leads to Danhausen pulling some pranks, which was hilarious, and Dom gets eliminated. We got Dragon Lee to come out next, and he and Javon, man, they were putting on a clinic, a wrestling clinic. Beautiful stuff, great stuff. After Dragon Lee gets eliminated, Rusev comes out, and multiple times it looked like Rusev was putting this away, and they let Javon Evans fight back. Looks really strong before he finally does have to give up to the accolade, and that's fine. I thought he did a lot for Javon in this. Then we get Chad Gable, who eventually does eliminate Rusev. So the final two come down to Chad Gable and Ethan Page. And here's my only problem with the entire match. Ethan Page deserves more than 4 minutes and change for his part of this. If he could come out with 4 minutes with a guy who already wrestled an earlier match, basically, like back to back, and lose in 4 minutes, that makes him look horrifically terrible. He has no stamina whatsoever. He can't beat a guy who already was gassed out, and you lose in 4 minutes. I hated that. That should have been a 15-minute banger to end the show. And again, you're on Netflix, so it's not like you technically really have to be up against a time crunch. If you need to go long, you go long. What are they going to pay for? An extra couple of gigs of memory on their server? Like, for real, it's absolutely ridiculous. But Chad Gable picking up the win, love that. He'll face Penta. I expect him to win the championship from Penta because of how popular he is, which is kind of sucks for me because I'm a huge Penta guy. But if it opens the door to one of two things, Penta either moving up the ladder and becoming more of a world championship contender, or Penta reuniting with Phoenix and becoming a tag team, I'm okay with it. If it does anything but like pushing Penta down the ladder, I'm going to be frustrated, just being honest. And then the main event segment of the show is the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins part. Some more promos. This promo, Roman was on fire. He was killing it. Everything he said was spot on. And Seth was, par for the course up until Roman finished his promo. And then Seth, his rebuttal was fantastic. And then we finally got some physicality. I'm starting to get a little more into this match coming. But at the end of the day, there's still some work to do in the last couple weeks before SummerSlam. And I'm going to be curious to see how this plays out over time so we can hopefully build the excitement. We got to move tickets. SummerSlam's got to move tickets, and they're just not moving enough. And this match is a big part of what's going to decide whether or not fans want to buy in or not. I'm sure they'll put the tickets on sale 947 times, just trying to move enough to make it look like the building's full. But if you go online and look at the Ticketmaster and SeatGeek and things like that, there's so many tickets available. It's kind of obnoxious. Just saying, kind of crazy. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, goes to Suno for creating music and sound effects I use in the show. If you're looking to bring a new friend to family game night, it's easy with this game, Sketchy People. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beezle Games by going to thegamecrafter.com and picking up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, maybe you're considering college, university life, maybe you just need some formal training for that next step in your career decision, stop by our website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life educational planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for tuning in tonight. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great one.